It's you.
On the brown thing?
Yep. Let's keep it on the brown, baby.
You didn't work for UPS, did you?
No, I applied to UPS and Cheesecake Factory. They wouldn't hire me.
Because this brown is...
You know, right here, right here.
Oh, there.
Look, it's already drips, dude. Look at this.
Yeah, I didn't want to touch your towels.
Towels are okay. I'll get you.
So I
wash.
I don't know that I want to touch your towels.
I wash my towels, dude.
What about this towel?
No, that's not a towel. That's a seated blanket.
Looks like a large towel. Did you have a fat girlfriend or something? That's pretty...
Don't.
Well...
She's heavy. She's a big...
That's not an extra large ShamWow, is it?
Ladies and gentlemen, Harland Williams. Theme music.
Scoot doo, blabbity blue, scoop dee. Oh yeah!
Are you anti-headphones?
No, no. My uncle is.
Raise one eyebrow. Stop smiling. That's your model face.
How did you know I modeled, dude?
I've been following your career for a while. 20 more minutes.
You know, if you want to take 45, I wouldn't mind having a nap on this brown, probably smells like your, whatever.
Say it. My heavy girlfriend.
I was going to say fatty, but yeah, heavy girlfriend works.
What is your take on shaming, you know, being in the modeling industry, about shaming based on weight?
Shouldn't be in it. I saw a mannequin the other day that was plus sized, and I drop kicked it in the neck, and I got kicked out of Ross Dress for Less. They said I was violent and inappropriate, and I said I'm a model, and I don't need to see mannequins that are chubby. So yeah, I don't want heavy people in the industry.
I didn't shower today.
I know that.
Christ, your hair's amazing.
Right? Plugs, by the way.
No.
Yeah.
Swear to God?
Yeah, from Sweden, Denmark Boys Choir School.
Wait, hold on.
Custom plugs.
On the tray.
Oh,
This is
interesting.
You want to put on the tray, it's yours.
Wow.
You're being serious? Because
Full hair plugs, yeah. Full on.
how long ago?
Probably got them done in 98.
No. There's a difference between joking around and lying, and we don't know each other yet. I now know you didn't, because I know what the hair stuff looked like in 98. I also know that if you had it in 98, you would have had to have had another treatment done, so you would have said those years. So now I know you're lying.
What if I hadn't had time to say those years and you cut me off?
No. This is what I do. This is why the podcast is so big, because I get down to it. Welcome to another episode of Take Your Shoes Off. My name's Rick Glassman with special guest Harland. Harland?
Yes.
Harland Williams.
With a D. Harland.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said. Harland.
Yeah. Sounded like you threw a silent letter in there. Like in Skahul, there's a H. In Salmon, there's a... Sounded like... I thought I sensed a silent thing.
You're saying that the D would have been silent, so you would have not sensed the silent thing.
Right.
You were adding letters in your example, but what you're saying is I took a letter away.
But I felt like you popped a J in there. Like it was so silent, it was almost a romantic whisper.
Well, let's cut back and see if I popped a J.
Yeah.
My jump shot sucks. Psych.
You're right.
When you have a name that's tricky, like mine, you pick up on these things.
You know, I just watched the South Park with... I checked the cameras to see that they're still rolling.
Right, I was just helping you because I was checking too. When you check it,
You'll check?
I'll check.
Maybe every now and then we could both check. So I could check... I'll check this one and that one because I've been doing it more.
That
And
one.
you know what you're looking for?
Yeah, my dad always said friends help friends check. And it seems like we're friends already.
Now, your uncle is afraid of headphones. Is that your father's brother or your mother's brother?
It was well, you said on my anti-headphone.
Right. Make sure that this isn't covering your face. Let's bring it like this.
Well, maybe I'm sensitive about my lips. Well, you know, now I'm feeling like a fidget elf because I'm
not even fully here with you yet. I'm still
fidgeting.
Focusing.
You're a little fidget elf or whatever they call it.
Fidget elf.
Fidget monkey or whatever.
I think technically you're not supposed to say fidget monkey anymore because of...
I do.
Trump.
I'm a model. Now I feel trapped on a brown ShamWow. And I feel
Who
like
sings
it feels like it's absorbing me.
That's the point. Now tell me about your uncle who was anti-headphones. Or is he still with us?
Well, I said you asked me if I was anti headphones.
Right.
And I said no, but my uncle is.
I remember.
So in a way it was wordplay, which is similar to foreplay, which I'll probably get into in a little further along.
Right.
But it was just wordplay. I don't have an uncle.
I'm sorry. He passed?
He did, but that's because he has a Ferrari, so it's not...
Oh, drove by.
Well, passed. You asked me if he passed. And that's... With a Ferrari, it's hard not to pass. I mean, look, guy.
Are you talking about on the freeway? How meant is he dead?
Yeah, the 101.
Right.
Which, by the way, goes by Forest Lawn Graveyard,
right,
which where there's a lot of dead.
sentences.
So he passed a lot of the past.
I think it's interesting. Interesting?
Sure it is.
Interesting the way you said that foreplay is kind of like wordplay. And I think it's more than kinda, because a lot of times when you're flirting with a girl or a guy, you use wordplay as a way of flirtation, which
True.
is before play, right?
Right, like before I bed a woman, I'll crack out Shakespeare or James Joyce. I'll read 4 or 5 chapters out of a James Joyce.
Is there anything that you have memorized?
All the world is a stage.
Do you mind?
Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight? Are you sorry we drifted apart? Does your memory stray to a bright summer day when I kissed you and called you sweetheart? Do the chairs in your parlor seem empty and bare? Do you picture my face standing there? Do you like your pork chops medium rare? Wait, what's happening here? Whoa, dude. Are you getting sensitive?
I don't feel like it. My eyes sometimes do that. It's because you've been so silly.
Huh?
Because you're so silly and you can tap into that kind of stuff.
You're gonna get emotional. It's making me emotional.
Can we see if the cameras are on real quick?
Fucking asshole.
Is the back one going?
What? Like,
Is this camera on?
I don't know anymore, man. What the fuck? I just came here to talk.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Harlan, that's hysterical. But you got to give me a second. Daddy's got to make some money. And that's why I'm here to talk to you about our sponsor, Diet Smoke. This 420, enjoy a smooth buzz of Diet Smoke. Go to dietsmoke.com, use promo code TYSO to save 20% off their THC gummies. This podcast is sponsored by EveryPlate, which is America's best value meal kit. Try EveryPlate for just $1.79 per meal. That's up to $104 value. That's fucking crazy cheap. Go to everyplate.com and enter code TYSO179. Did you enjoy that Will Smith, Chris Rock book animation and you think to yourself, wow, Rick is a special kind of comedian? Well, you're right. And I have a special kind of comedy show. April 20th, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing Rick Glassman at Friends at the Brea Improv. Link in the description. Buy some tickets. Adam Ray, Brent Morin, Andrew Santino, Eric Griffin, and myself, unless they all cancel and it'll just be me and maybe, somebody who's at the club who's like, oh, I could do some time. I want this to sell out because I want the clubs to be like, damn, Glassman's got a huge presence in the podcast game. Again, click the link in the description for more information and to buy some tickets.
Fun. Hey, man, I know we don't know each other, but I'm having a great time.
This is really, really, really nice. But I'm having a bit of an emotional override here.
Are you being serious?
This time I'm being serial because I grew up, and this setting is very reminiscent of a childhood friend of mine.
Huh.
I grew up in Ohio, and one of my best friends, Jeffrey,
shout out Jeffrey's business handle up here,
had a living room that was set up just like this.
Because of his parents or because of him?
I think it was just his parents and the family, but it was very similar arrangement. And I don't know if you did any research on me, but both of my legs are not real. I think you knew that already.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so these from here down, you can hear that kind of metal.
Do it again.
It's like It's almost like I'm tin, like knocking on tin.
I do hear that.
And I don't know if you know this, but Jeffrey, I was one of the first people, Jeffrey Dahmer ate my legs.
I'm sorry for laughing. It's just, that's fucking insane.
Wow. That was...
Well, you have to make jokes about it at this point. You're a comedian.
I don't think I said I was having an emotional...
No,
visceral
I'm not
reaction.
saying it's not real, but I'm
Right.
saying, do you talk about that on stage?
I've never brought it up. This brought it out in me because this is very similar to the Dahmer's living room.
Now, are you from Ohio, or did you just visit Jeffrey? 'Cause
I
he
was
a
there.
friend of
I'm
yours?
from there, and
Where?
Jeffrey lived down the street, Dayton, Ohio.
I'm from Cleveland.
Okay,
And boy,
cool.
are your legs tired.
There's just down the road from here. There's the Glendale Police Department Hate Speech Division,
GPDHSD.
and I just I'm not adverse to submitting a complaint or an inquiry into somebody.
Why don't you give him a call now on the pod?
Maybe I will, and maybe I ain't.
Is this fine, what we're doing?
When you've lost your legs, your lower extremities, to a flesh-eating cannibal who posed as your childhood friend, I think being uncomfortable at this thing that we're doing here.
What is this?
I don't know. Isn't this the sign for podcast?
Did I do this, or is this something that you know
I thought
of?
this was on the Google or in
Oh,
Amazon.
I think you're thinking of this.
This thing.
This, like everything that's included.
Got it. And I turned it up.
Yeah, this is two-dimensional.
That's like if you laid down a can of Pringles, the Pringles would be
Yeah.
sideways and not
I was
stacked. Got it.
picturing something that they do in the Marvel universe, like
Swirl.
Doctor Strange. It's
Got
just
it,
coming through
got
this
it.
two-dimensional thing in a three-dimensional world.
Right.
While this,
Another name for strange is queer.
Queer.
And I wondered if you called him Dr. Queer, does that work?
my mom.
It's Thor, Hulk, and Dr. Queer. And then is the villain really that intimidated? First, Dr. Queer pops up.
First of all, and I think it's important to say this in 2022.
Please.
I think that villains could be very intimidated by somebody whose name is queer.
Doctor, but what if he's a doctor?
Even better.
Okay,
But my mom uses the word queer because in her day it meant strange.
sure.
And she uses it in a way that is like, oh, that's queer. Like she doesn't like, if sometimes it could be like negative, and she doesn't mean it in the form of, I know you're not supposed to say this, but
Pardon me?
homosexual.
Do you need a Ricolo?
No, I thought I had a sneeze. Sorry. Homosexual.
Ricolo.
All right, now do one or two more in a different pitch so we could have it be a choir. Okay, so for the moment we remarked, we're now going to go from him from before. We're going to cut to the wide. We're going to hear it and acknowledge it. Make sense?
I don't know. Should we be using the word wide when you know who might be? Is she here?
Yeah,
And you're throwing around the word wide.
we're using it all around. Here we go. In 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Do you know the next ones? 2.
1. That is what I call foreplay. Is it weird when it feels like your camera's looking back at me? Like, I feel like we look into cameras, but sometimes you could be in a crowded subway station or at
What do you mean?
like you're standing somewhere where there's a lot of things and you feel like someone's looking at you, and I feel like your cameras are looking at me.
Interesting. Does that make you feel anything negative, positive?
A little paranoid, a little on edge.
Did you used to smoke a lot of weed?
No,
Did you ever smoke a lot of weed?
never.
Did you ever smoke a regular amount of weed?
I can't even remember now.
Did you ever smoke a little weed?
I don't think so.
Huh.
The sounds of silence.
Oh, yeah. We have to be careful because YouTube will mark that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So if I hear the sounds of silence by Simon and Garfunkel, when we're in it, like if we're in it, we're in the silence, I think legally there can be no litigation. If we're in the silence and I'm hearing the sounds, and you can roll this back and you can see that we were clearly sitting in the silence for probably a good minute or two. But that just sets me up for litigation if there's clings and dangs, because then it's not silent. Boy, there's a lot of snapping going on here, Guy. And I remember in the 80s, there was a lot of this going on in Michael Jackson videos. And I was cool with it. And then about 2 years ago, HBO put out a documentary on Jacko.
Oh, I didn't see it. What is it about? Is it cool?
It was tight. Let's put it that way. It was tight and ripe.
About how he was a triple threat, singer, dancer, and entertainer all around.
Sodomist, yeah, for a quadruple threat. And this kind of, we ain't talking chee anymore.
I tend to oversnap when there's not a lot of sincerity, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that quite literally.
Got it. Yeah.
When I'm feeling like we're doing bits, which I almost always want to do, but then sometimes when I feel like, just being honest, when I feel like I'm like, I don't like this word, but it's the truth, forcing stuff. Sometimes I'll force stuff because if you're doing bits and if I don't feel like I'm in the pocket and I don't want to negate or stop, and it's a hard dynamic. I'm being serious about it.
I can tell. I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah. So I sometimes do that because it allows me to build something in post.
Right.
You know, which has been a benefit of this podcast for me because I get to find stuff and trim stuff and kind of control the misses or highlight them even.
Got it.
Yeah, but that's just what that is.
So you'd rather tell stories? Is that what you're saying?
There's no rather. I just like being in a pocket, and I've felt in and out of it sometimes so far because we just met. And also, I told you this before. Also, I'll let the audience in. I asked you a while ago on Instagram to come on, but you never saw the message.
Right.
Coincidentally, we did a show together last week, and we were tagged in a thing, and then you saw the message.
Yeah.
So I met you for a second at the Improv last week. Yeah. But I mean, I've been wanting to have you on for a long time. Wow. I'm a fan.
Thank you.
And with that, as opposed to a buddy who I already know and you just play and stuff, like I do feel myself like I could play with you. I could ask questions. So I'm still like, finding it.
Can I say the word struggling? Is that,
we'll bleep that. I don't want people to think that.
Okay.
You could keep the word struggling in, but put a bleep over it so people know that, like,
yeah, we'll use it in a different sense. People are struggling all over the world type of thing, and then no one knows. I
got you that thing in case you struggle to open your Uncle Matt's.
I'm afraid to lean forward because you so kind of put this thing here, almost like a blocking device.
Put it wherever you want now. That was me giving a suggestion.
Okay, so if I do this and then this, and I used to be a choreographer, by the way. You can ask Paula Abdul. And this, and this, this, go 2, 3, 4, this, 5, 6, 7, 8, this, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and around.
Yeah.
Can I do that?
Earlier, it was producer Rick. Remember I was telling you, told you outside, producer Rick, and now it's anything you want.
Okay.
It's anything you want.
Wait, I can call you anything you want.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
How about Tum Diddles Gumble-Blumps, Rick?
Yeah. Can I call you anything I want?
Think you lay it on me.
Harlan. Harlan Williams. The third.
Bingo.
Do you watch
Daddy.
South Park?
I've watched a little bit.
You've heard of it?
I've heard of it. I've watched a bit, not a lot.
I just watched one from this season where Token, you know the character Token? He's the black friend.
I don't.
There's a black friend. There's one black guy on it. His
Okay.
name's Token. The joke for, I guess, 30 years has been he's a token black guy. And they just came out that they revealed he's named after the Lord of the Rings writer J.R. Tolkien.
Oh, I thought he smoked a lot of weed.
Taking a toke, man.
Yeah.
No, but it's Tolkien. And it made me think of Harland. Tolkien.
Wait. Harland.
The way people lose your D was the way people...
Oh, I see.
Were you bullied at school because people didn't know if your name was Harlan or Harland?
No, I wasn't bullied. Maybe when people bullied me more because I had big ears.
Can I see them?
Sure.
Or did you grow into them?
I think I sort of grew into them.
Whoa! Too bad
Wow.
Dahmer didn't bite off some of those instead, huh? I could say that. My best friend's a token.
I might get a bus token and ride the hell out of here if that ever happens again.
Hey, as long as you don't pass me on the freeway. So I was seeing if the camera was on. So what were you bullied for? Your ears?
My ears were big, and I got names like Mr. Spock, Alfred E. Newman, things like that.
Did that make you feel bad, or was it like they were playing with you?
No, it made me feel bad. And my parents asked me if I wanted to get an operation to have my ears pinned, which I'd never heard of as a 7-year-old boy.
I thought pin was bringing it back, not making them smaller.
Yeah, that's what it was, to bring them back because they stuck out.
Gotcha.
And I, somewhere in my infinite wisdom, if a child of 7 has any of that.
I think so. What do you guys think?
Oh, who, where, what? And I said, somewhere in the back of my head, I thought to myself, God designed me, and He designed these ears, so there must be a purpose. So I'm gonna power through the abuse and the insults and the pain and the sadness and the sorrow, and I'm going to let those puppies grow.
How did your parents know that was an issue? Were you telling them?
I told them. I said, the kids at school are laughing at me and pointing, and there was one girl, Karen Salmon was her name.
Shout out to Karen Salmon, I'll put her Instagram handle up here.
And she just used to walk up and
Flick 'em?
flying kick me in the ass cheeks. Like,
Because of your ears?
I think so, because I think the ears, well, there goes a life.
I didn't kill it. I was just...
Oh, yeah, now he's here.
Yeah.
Let's see if I got the little whore. No.
You-
He lived twice. 2 grown men, and I'm assuming you're over 6 foot.
Thank you.
2 6
Got
foot.
it. Got one.
No.
No, look.
Is he there?
Yeah, there was one.
I think that might have been a fairy.
I don't kill bugs.
Yeah, but you're a fairy killer. I think that was a fairy guy.
Yeah, I didn't kill it. I caught it and let it go.
Oh, I didn't hear the bell.
Well, play it back.
Yeah, I didn't kill it. I caught it and let it go. Oh, I didn't hear the bell.
There it is. Fairy.
I know. Pretty much don't kill bugs, but the exception of things when they're flying. For some reason, I feel like it's so much of a nuisance when it's flying. I'll get rid of it. But when I see a bug, even a little tiny bug on something, I bring it outside.
Yeah, I like that about you.
Thank you.
There's a tenderness, and the only thing I kill in my house are spiders, because they could potentially end up in the bed. But everything else,
End
I
up in the
let
bed?
live. In the bed, horny, 8-legged acronids, they're called.
Which is different than an acronym. WIDTAA.
Right.
RR.
And
Tolkien.
and it's Latin. Both those words are Latin, just in case you want to.
Are you afraid of spiders? Because I am, but I still bring them outside.
How do you do it? What's your method? How do you trap them?
First, adrenaline pours into my body.
Wow.
And it could be a small spider.
Yeah.
Pours into my body, and I can't get my eye off it because spiders know when you spot them, when you look away, they disappear.
They have 8 eyes.
So I have to find a cup. Usually that's why I have a lot of see-through glasses as opposed to, non-see-through.
Right.
And I put it over it.
Right.
And then I have to find something that's firm, usually a direct mail piece, some type of cardboard or something.
Yeah.
And I slide under it. But you also have to be careful because when the spider stays on the wall, you can't slide under. You can get its leg off. So you have to kind of hold it there and move it, trick it into going into the cup some so you could seal it.
Yeah.
Then it's sealed. And then I go, ew, 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 right?
So like a little girl.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, do you skip to the door to let it go, or do you walk?
No, I walk like I don't want to spill a drink.
Okay, so a little bit girlish.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't.
And I'll put my shoes on, and I'll go outside, and then I put it down with the paper there because I want to make sure that I saw it exit. Because I used to just go like this, and I don't know if I got it out. I don't know if I got it on me.
Right.
So I want to see it walk out. And then I wash the cup and I throw the paper away in case other spiders smell and come.
Do what now?
A smell and come?
I don't think you're supposed to shake the spider.
No, I used to try to shake it out.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that could cause something this big a lot of bodily damage.
Spiders
have 8 legs, and they're more than enough legs to call Larry H. Parker on a landline.
It's a good call.
Well, you're not a spider, so I won't even try it. Well, looks like you're not going to listen.
No, I heard you.
Okay.
I won't do it.
Well, you can't. If you want to call Larry H. Parker.
No.
Do you have any litigation in your life?
I did file a lawsuit against my old apartment.
And who won?
Well, it settled.
Oh, wow. So it was on a weak foundation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was afraid that it was going to keep sinking, and then the city of California said that as long as it's within 8%.
What does the H stand for in Larry H. Parker? I thought you might know.
Harriet.
Harriet Parker, attorney at law. Makes sense in today's climate.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a he? Is it a she?
Right.
We know it's a Parker, which is interesting because we were talking about spider litigation. And Peter Parker is technically half spider. It's funny how all this loops together.
Would you say that he's half spider? I would say he's part spider.
Part spider, yes.
Yeah.
That's a better...
Half spider would be like, I'm picturing the head of Tobey Maguire with 8 legs.
Yeah, that's true.
But like human feet.
Part spider.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you nailed it. You really nailed it this time.
Would you say the difference between nailing it and pinning it, or do you not liking using the term pinning because of the stuff with your ears as a kid? And is that why you got into comedy?
Well, the pinning really comes when Jeffrey pinned me down. It's not so much with the ears.
He held you down? Or he
pinned me
drugged you?
down and kind of feasted on my lower extremities here. But no, I was... maybe a little bit had an inkling that my goofy ears were somehow related to comedy. I didn't know I was going to do comedy, but I figured...
Because people were laughing?
Yeah, I figured if God made me look a little goofy, maybe it meant that there was goofy in my future.
Did you, as a kid, you felt that your physical appearance was goofy?
Yeah, the ears for sure. The rest, I mean, I told you earlier, model material.
Right.
But the ears will even offset a model. And when I grew into my ears, that's when Ford came around. That's when Milan came knocking. That's when...
By Milan, what? That's like the city?
That's where Fashion Week takes place every year.
Yeah, but who the head of Fashion Week?
Well, no. My model agency got me over there, and suddenly I'm on the couch. There's Crawford comes out. Crawford comes out strutting, still at her age. I mean, just the longer legs and a daddy long.
We had her daughter on the podcast.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Donnie? What's her name?
Donnie?
What's her name again?
Kaya.
Kaya.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm more of a canoe guy, but what was she saying?
We'll cut to a clip. So I'm buying this magazine, right? And I see something that's crazy. And I don't want to, listen, I don't want to really call you out, but Life and Style already did.
What'd they say about me?
Kaya Gerber dumped again. Why Mom Cindy took his side.
I told my mom, stop taking other people's sides.
And is this who it was that you were dating?
You know what? He's a little old for me.
Put it down. Brings bad memories.
I mean, stack it up.
How does your mom take his side? What is this magazine? How are they changing the narrative?
I didn't know you were going to ask me about this.
All right, we can cut it out.
And we're back. Great. That was a cool clip.
Yeah. Hard-hitting stuff on this podcast.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is that it was Crawford, it was Monica Schneier and Klum, and then I come out on the catwalk. And so it's fun. It's fun. It's a good thing to do.
Are you still friends with Klum?
Yeah.
Are you friends with Howie Mandel?
Yeah.
Because they're tight too.
Yeah, they are tight. They're real tight.
Yeah, real tight.
Super.
Fucking.
Some of the tightest I've seen.
It's insane. Like, how tight?
Yeah, really tight.
I'm talking 35, 25, 22, 44, 45, 66, 21, 33, 44, 45, 46, 47. Blah, 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 blah.
Dude, that sounds like you just melted an isosceles triangle and created your own tightness.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah. You know how many corners a triangle has?
Hold on, don't tell me. If I can just have a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have corners, it has points.
Well,
so there's 6.
Corners. Correct. If they're wearing glasses. Otherwise, it's 3.
But you gotta include, you see, there's the outer points.
Right.
But there's an inner.
Right.
An isosceles triangle isn't a solid triangle. The middle's cut out like a donut.
Right.
So you have to factor in the 3 points in the middle. So you got the outer points and the 3 inner points, 6.
But if it's a circle inside, there is no inside points.
It's not a circle.
But you said a donut.
No, I'm saying it has a middle like a donut.
Similar to how a donut has a middle similar to the outside shape. A triangle has a mini triangle hole.
Right. And
yes.
If you were to take 2 isosceles triangles and stick them in a pumpkin's eyes, people would just think the pumpkin was wearing sunglasses.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of a different joke.
Oh.
Diet smoke. Here's the thing. Some weed gets people very high. Some weed gets them diet high. Diet Smoke's signature gummy is made with Delta H THC, which is what gives it that special kind of high. I took it last night for the first time. I was doing a stand-up show, the Comedy Store, Belly Room. The high is fantastic. I did take a full piece, and I'm a sensitive boy, and it got me not crazy high, but I definitely felt it. Diet Smoke is less intense, but still strong. You won't get anxiety from a weed edible ever again. They got a money-back guarantee, so Diet Smoke will give you 100% of your money back if you don't like it, so give it a try. This 420, enjoy the smooth buzz of Diet Smoke, and right now, Diet Smoke wants you to get really high for a really low price. Go to dietsmoke.com and use promo code TYSO to get 20% off all their THC gummies. That's dietsmoke.com, promo code TYSO for 20% off. Go to dietsmoke.com, promo code TYSO for 20% off Diet Smoke THC gummies. Harlan, I hate to interrupt. Or do I actually? But sometimes I get an appetite to interrupt. But always, I get an appetite for a delicious home-cooked meal. Every Plate is America's best value meal kit. While most meal kits come with a premium price tag, Every Plate offers delicious dinners that won't break the bank. Choose between 17 recipes that change each week. Swap the proteins, the veggies, and sides to your liking. For those looking for a quick and satisfying fix, Every Plate now offers a selection of recipes that come together in just 20 to 25 minutes, as well as easy cleanup options. I got a box filled to the brim with tons of ingredients. The food's delicious. The food is fresh. Lots of options. Also, if you know me and my modifications, you don't have to add the creme fraiche. You make it your way. Try Every Plate for just $1.79 per meal by going to everyplate.com and entering code TYSO179. That's Every Plate for just $1.79 per meal. Get started at everyplate.com and enter the code TYSO179. That's TYSO179. That's up to a $104 value. Harlan, you hungry?
I don't think so.
I bet you are. Well, I hope you could enjoy some Every Plate. Now, back to the podcast.
If you stick donuts in a pumpkin's eyes, you might be a redneck.
You know, I worked with him once in Montreal, Jeff Foxworthy.
Shout out to Jeff Foxworthy.
And, you know, he does those redneck jokes. And I thought, well, here we are backstage, just me and him. And I thought, you know, I'll come up with one and just say it to him, right? So he was standing. I go, hey, Jeff, I love your redneck jokes. I got one for you. And he kind of looked at me trepidatiously. And I go, you know you're a redneck when you go to the high school prom and your 7-year-old sister with the train track braces is hanging upside down from the roof and is the disco ball. And he just looked at me like, get the fuck out of my life.
Did you know him?
I didn't know him real well, but we were both on the stage at the Montreal Comedy Festival Gala. So it's already, you know, that kind of says it's prestigious. You're both supposed to be there.
Yeah, we're peers.
Right, but I had no right to be giving him material.
Does that ever get in your way in life? Where like, you know, you're joking, you're just connecting with people, but they receive it completely different than you intended?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have you had to learn how to when to gamble, when not to? Because that's something that I deal with in my life.
No, I just go for it. Like yesterday, this is for real, I was playing racquetball, and one of the guys in our racquetball league he always wears like a muscle shirt, so it's not the sleeves, it goes over his shoulders. And he's got the hairiest arms you've ever seen. Like the hair comes out that far.
Right.
And I said to him yesterday, I said, I'll give you $200 an arm if you let me shave them. And it didn't go over that well.
Right.
But then about 5 minutes later, he came back. I guess he melted and he goes, did you say $200? So it came back and it seemed like he was okay.
If he wasn't okay, does that make you feel like you made a mistake? Do you feel like that's operational cost of living the life that you do?
No, because I think in my mind, there was a good deed I was doing in the back of the joke.
Is the deed the money, or is the deed making him look more fitting to what you think he should look like?
There you go.
The latter.
Subliminally, I was sort of probably also saying, hey, dude, your arms look like something that crawled out of Satan's anus. And it might serve you well to shave that Rastafarian look on your arms. And so maybe in the back of my humor, I was looking out for that hairy freak and hoping that maybe he cleaned it up and didn't repulse the world the way he is.
Do you think that maybe God made him that way and maybe he was supposed to have this look and that's how he should carry on?
You had to slap me with that.
What do you think about that?
I think you got me. Checkmate. I think this thing is done now. I think you won. I think we're done. I love your smile.
Thanks, man.
It's like really charming and beautiful, and you have beautiful white teeth.
Thank you.
And you just emote such a kindness and a warmth when you laugh and smile.
I'm going to keep asking some questions. You could leave if you were really done, though.
No, I'm not done. I felt a little bit spent because, you know, you brought back on me exactly what had been done to me. And
why'd that make you feel spent?
Because it drained me of all my self-righteousness, and it was good. I needed that. I needed that slap in the face, as if getting my legs gnawed off as a child wasn't enough for me. You came around and sort of psychologically cannibalized my face.
Well, I think it's more so I cannibalized your judgments.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that you held up a mirror, an IKEA mirror. It's not a great mirror.
Well, wasn't still, it's only one season
right
at my show.
But you made me reflect in the moment. You made me be
change your language. I allowed you to reflect because you didn't have to take it.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't make you do anything. I gave you an opportunity and you said, let me see myself for who I am, the way God made you.
Right.
Which includes some of the judgments. And that's fine because that's human. But just check it to make sure you understand other perspectives.
Yeah, you made me introspective in that moment, allowed me.
Yeah.
And for that, I guess I'm eternally grateful. If you could not lunge at me, whoa, guy. Okay, there goes my choreography bit.
I was just doing a joke. You could do it.
Oh,
yeah. I was just.
Whoa, guy, let's chill it back a bit, Taco. I mean, or whatever they call you.
Taco.
Okay.
So, I want to get in this talk about a little bit more about the risks, the joke risks that that I'm going to say we take, but I'm talking about like the Jeff Foxworthy thing, the hair on the arms, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Is it fair to assume that your intentions, most likely subconscious, because you see something, you say it, are to be funny and playful versus calling somebody out? Or is there something about you really think he needs to fix his hair? Like, do you think he's going to think you're funny?
I think he's going to see the humor.
Right.
Don't know if he's going to find it funny, but I think since you're asking, I do subliminally try to stick things in there that make you think. So,
Is that because you're, pardon the directness on this.
No worries.
Is that because you're scared to just say it directly and you need to have a joke to make it more palatable? Or is it just for you, I'm going to make this little thing, this is just for me?
I think it's not impactful enough if it's just delivered regularly.
What does that mean, not impactful enough?
So you make a comment that the average person could make and it just goes in one ear and out the other.
Right.
But when you wrap it in something, when you wrap it in words that are more memorable, i.e. a joke vis-a-vis humor.
IEHOVVH.
HIV?
No.
You have, what do you have?
IEAJVV. I.e. a joke vis-a-vis.
Oh.
It's an acronym.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm big in acronyms. IBIAs.
Huh. I would love to sit down with you at IHOP and talk about this if you have time.
IHOP.
International House of Pancakes guy?
IHOP.
If you have time.
Do you mind?
I would love it.
Give me 1 sec.
Perfect time to sneak a drink. Look at this. What the hell kind of trickery is that? Whew, I finally catch my breath with this guy. Now I can hear him taking a piss. I'm drinking something yellow. So now I gotta do the association, and now it's like, here I go, drinking his piss. Yeah. God, did you eat asparagus last night?
I did. Could you smell it?
No, I could taste it. God damn, this guy. Fucking vegetarian, I bet. Probably eats fucking Brussels sprouts and shit. Fucking cauliflower. Probably eats fucking green beans when he's in bed. Eats fucking coleslaw when he's watching movies. The fucking guy. I'll ask him when he comes back. Fucking guy probably plays with parsnips under his blankets. And that's how vegetarians get. They're fucking insecure. All they eat is lettuce all day. Like fucking Galapagos tortoises. Just this fucking guy probably eats cactus. Huh?
Ice?
No thanks.
I can get it for you.
No thanks, I'm straight. But this fucking guy probably eats the green beans and fucking. I mean, can't you picture this guy sitting on a cliff by the seaside just fucking gnawing on a cabbage?
Great. I'm Rick, by the way. Nice to meet you.
All right. Tell us who?
Rick Glassman. My friends call me Taco.
Oh.
Okay. This is, I've had a lot of weird podcasts, and this isn't one of them.
Okay.
But
Are you a vegetarian?
I am a few days a week. It's funny that you ask.
Knew it.
What makes you know that?
Nothing. Just I didn't even know you were. I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
Nothing.
How was it working on Half Baked?
Wow. It was oh. Oh, you want? I thought you wanted like a code answer.
That it sounded like you were banging on your legs there for a second.
Yeah. Well, thanks for bringing them up again.
Sure.
Working on Half Baked was interesting.
All right. So, Harlan, you're a stand-up comedian.
I don't even like that title.
Right. Well, then let's go back to the half-baked stuff.
No, I mean, I like the title, but I
Because
don't.
of your legs.
Not the like, just I don't like that title. Like it's too definitive.
You're being serious?
Yes.
Because stand-up comedian means you're not the other things?
It just means you're a stand-up comedian, and I'm a person who likes to get up there and do stand-up, but that's not what I am. It's
Right.
too much of a defining title.
People
and it
say that
really
about-
makes me angry.
Like, I'm not autism. I'm a person with autism. It's like that type of thing. So you're a person with stand-up comedy.
Yes, there you go. You nailed it.
Right.
You nailed it, guy.
Was stand-up something that you were doing before you, like, I did stand-up before I did comedy acting.
Yeah.
What's your path?
I did stand-up first, and then kind of knew if I could be good at it, if I could be successful and open doors with it, it would lead to acting and TV and movies and voiceover and whatever else might come along.
Podcasts.
Yeah.
So stand-up was a means of...
It wasn't a means. It wasn't like I didn't have it, it wasn't a scheme. It was like I knew that it could potentially open those other doors, and I would hope it would, but it wasn't. My main goal was just to be good at stand-up.
It was.
Yeah, and then if I was good, I thought maybe other things will get attracted to that.
If you were so wanting as a priority to be stand-up, why is the term stand-up comedian something that feels, I don't know if derogatory is the right word, but too simple?
No, it's too encasing. It's too confining. It's too much of a label. And so I don't like it. You're a stand-up comedian.
Is Dave Chappelle a stand-up comedian?
Not to me. Nobody is. There is no stand-up comedian. There's people that are funny and get up and present their humor.
What about is Tom Cruise an actor?
Yes.
Why is that different?
Because that's none of my business, right? But stand-up comedy.
But you're an actor.
Yes, actor. To me, that's a defining term because it is what it is. But to me, stand-up comedy, I don't know why. It's always been too free for me. It's like, you ever see a dragon, not a jet flies very directly, but a butterfly flies all over the place. It maneuvers all over the place. So to me, stand-up comedy is
a butterfly.
It's too artistic and too loose to
Keep the, sorry, it just
give it a title. I know that sounds very, very dramatic, but it's just the way I feel in my soul, where the baby angels live.
Is there something that you feel that you, as a stand-up comedian, as someone who does stand-up comedy, however you want to, you know what I'm saying?
You can still say it. I won't be offended. It just matters how I say it and feel it. So you could say stand-up comedian to me, and I won't correct you.
Relative to other stand-up comedians, do you see yourself as different than them?
Gosh, I guess we're all different. I don't.
Don't zoom in so much. Back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Here's a sample of 100 stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
You're one of them. Do you feel like you are in the same category as them, or are you a little bit different than the 99 relatively?
I guess if I'm being honest, I'm different.
Yeah, that's what I'm picking up on, that maybe by stand-up comedian, then you're then being associated with what people think of stand-up, and that's not what you are.
Maybe. That's good analysis. Maybe.
Thank you.
And I'm not saying that to be pretentious. I don't want that kind of title on anybody. And I guess in art in general, to me, has to be open. It has to, I did a special. One of my specials was called A Force of Nature, and I did it out in the middle of the desert on a hill. And the producer said, we want to build bleachers and put people around you up on this hill. And I said, no, the whole purpose of this special is that there's no boundaries to the comedy. I'm on the top of the hill, and the only thing between me and the hill is the heavens and the earth.
I don't know this special. Where do people see it?
They can find it on YouTube and online. It's called A Force of Nature. You ever orgasm so hard that your legs curl up like when Dorothy dropped the house on that witch? It's a good orgasm. But I didn't want any boundaries. I wanted, to me, that it's just got to be free.
No audience.
No, an audience, but you don't always have to have an audience.
I thought about that.
Yeah. And so it can just flow and be what it is. It's very ethereal and hippie-ish, but
Also, it's silly, right?
Silly
That's
is a
part
big
of it.
thing. Yeah, comedy to me always was silly. Like a lot of comedians to me are very intense and topical and feel like they're trying to make a point. And to me, it was always just somebody throw an eggplant in that person's face. You know?
I connect with you on half of that.
Yeah.
I connect with you on how I think that people that are silly or making the point or whatever, if that's their thing, we all have our own thing. I get that. That's not usually mine.
Yeah.
I like the silly and the weird. But as I've gotten older and doing it more, I'm starting to appreciate how necessary it is, kind of like how Peter Parker's not just human or spider, how necessary it is to still have points to make.
Yeah, yeah.
Because otherwise, it's just, when I came into some self-awareness, I was and am wondering, am I being weird to be weird, or is this thing that is funny also happen to be weird?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I have found myself sometimes, like earlier in this podcast, it was a very subtle version of it on my end, but I felt myself not knowing where to stand with you yet. So I was just leaning into some of the tropes and things that probably didn't work. And I hate that feeling for myself.
No, they all worked. In my mind.
Yeah, you have a very positive attitude, it seems like.
Absolutely.
Are you a happy guy?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Why not? We're alive, man. We're living, breathing organisms, and we're here for but a flicker of a flame. And to not embrace every moment and every day and revel in that is foolhardy. Even when times are tough, you just gotta go out and look at the clouds or look at a ladybug or remember that we're special. We're here for but a moment.
Have you always felt like this?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Now, there's also times when you see darkness in the world and you can feel dark, but you know, you can't feel darkness unless you're alive and in it to see it. So it's, and as I get older, I realize how precious and valuable this moment is. And that's why everything you did at the beginning is simply beautiful. It's just, there's nothing there that didn't work.
I'm going to take a lot of that kindness and love of what you're saying. And that does, like, my eyes got watery during it. I feel that and I like that. Also, some of it didn't work. You know?
No, it really did.
Yeah, I think what's beautiful about what you're saying is the definition of work, as opposed to it's funny and worth it and there's a pocket and a momentum and a flow, is separate than it's an imperfection, it's human, it's real life, it's an interaction that happened while people were meeting, and that is that. Yeah,
you'll see. I have more confidence in it than you.
I think that's a really great perspective in redefining what's supposed to be and what work is. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. We're about to come back. How are you? I'm having a fucking great time, man. I don't know what's real and what isn't, but I love you. And we're back. You can keep all that in. We probably already did ads. Really, man, my eyes are at a good watering spot right now.
You're like an onion.
Yeah.
Oh,
everybody gets a turn.
Isn't it funny that a vegetable, or what is an onion?
It's a vegetable.
It can make you emotional.
It doesn't make you emotional. It's just the the chemicals that come up make you?
Crying is, I like to call that emotional. Like if I go to a funeral, I'm crying. When I carve up an eggplant, I'm not crying. I carve up an onion, I'm crying. So it's emotional to
I guess
me.
how you define emotion. Everything's emotional.
Yeah, but
If you get poked in the eye and your eye waters, are you emotional or are you in pain? And is pain the emotion?
if I get poked in the eye with an onion,
When?
I'm emotional and I'm crying.
Right. What if you get poked in the eye by what if an eyelash gets in your eye and you're trying to get it out, and as you're rubbing it, your tear ducts start to water to get the eye to flush.
Great question. So if
Thank you.
like earlier in the day, I was doing like butterfly kisses on an onion.
You're really into butterflies, I'm noticing.
Well, I'm trying to get to the onion and you're pulling me back to the butterfly thing, which is sort of tricky.
So are you saying what I did didn't work?
No, I'm saying you're being tricky. It feels like you're tricking me right now. But if I'm doing my butterfly kisses on an onion and my eyelashes are going up and down on an onion and getting residue, and then as you said, an eyelash comes out again, I'm gonna well up.
Forget the onion.
Okay.
An eyelash goes in your eye.
Yeah.
Your tear ducts help you get it out by flushing it.
Correct.
Watery eyes.
Yes.
You're not feeling there's no chemical release in your body that is changing the way you feel emotionally.
True.
But you're technically crying.
Right.
Is that being emotional?
No. Again, you got me.
Yeah.
Is this a form of bullying maybe that's happening? Because that's twice you've turned me around on my words. I feel like you got me stuck to this brown thing.
Well, it depends on how you look at bullying.
Is it bullying? I start asking myself.
Did you learn something from this?
I did. So
Did it work?
it's not bullying.
It might be both.
Bully on Brown. Somehow there's a book in this. Bullied on Brown.
It's actually not a bad idea.
If we could write that down.
Bullied on Brown book idea.
Bullied on Brown.
I didn't get that. Try tapping above to edit.
Bullet on brown avocado.
What?
That's what she thought I said.
Bullet on brown avocado? That's
not a bad
almost
idea.
even better.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is all over the place, but I want to go back to one thing here.
Please.
Is it crying,
Yes.
meaning you're emotional?
Yes, because you can fake crying. So maybe
Do you
you're
fake
right.
cry or do you force tapping into emotion?
I usually only cry if I really am emotional. I can't fake cry. I've done movies where the scene called for crying and I got really mad at myself because I couldn't fake it. And that's when I felt like
Well, you're not supposed to fake it.
I was a failure as an actor, believe it or not. That's the one time I felt like I was a failure at an
What
actor.
was it? What was it in?
I did a movie with Bob Saget actually called Becoming Dick. It was a movie for E! And I did my own movie called Fudgy Wudgy Fudge Face, where I literally was alone. I set up the camera alone on location, thinking, okay, no one's around. This is a big crying. It's the end of a love scene. I've got to just blubber. I've got to just let it flow. And I'm telling you, it was out in the desert, and I sat on a stool with the camera on me running for half an hour, and I'm thinking about my parents dying. I'm thinking about all the bad things in my life. I couldn't even manufacture the tears. And I went,
Like
I'm not a real
anxiety.
actor. It really made me disappointed.
May I?
Yes, please.
When a scene calls for crying, it doesn't mean you have to have watery eyes or tears.
True.
It just means you have to be feeling that emotion. And if feeling that emotion doesn't bring you to tears, but you're having those thoughts, it translates.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is I don't even think I got there, which really...
Do you think you're a good actor?
When that happened, I didn't. But then I did another movie called Sorority Boys where I had to not cry, but get to where you said just about, and I did it on that one.
And that's what makes you think you're good, being able to tap into this sadness thing. But all the other things, because the job of an actor, other than like telling the story and blah, 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 like there are a lot of things that involve the other people, but your core responsibility, assuming that you do all the things that you're supposed to do, is to just be believable.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be believable. I mean, crying is one of the thousands of things that you have to be believable about. All the other things, but the crying is the one that makes a good actor.
No, crying to me is overused. I see too many actors.
That's what I'm asking you. Then why do you feel it just because crying is the one thing you can't do?
Because personally, I feel like I could do everything and I felt good about being an actor.
Right.
But when it called for it, when I really needed to cry, when I had to cry, I couldn't get there. And in those moments, I felt like a failure.
What's harder, fake cry or fake laugh?
Fake crying.
I think fake laughing is so hard to do.
Why?
Harder than crying. Because I could think of things to make me feel emotional. It's hard to just think of something that is funny. I mean, laugh out loud funny.
Right.
Like laughing out loud is literally orgasmic. I mean, it's just that feeling. It's so real because it's like, you got me, you know, and it's hard to, when I was growing up, I didn't really know what people were thinking or how they were thinking or if they were lying, or I assumed everything was telling the truth anyway. I didn't even think, are they lying? I just didn't understand what and why. Laughter is always like, we're on the same page. Even if you don't like me, we're both here together for this, you know, second and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just fake laugh, and I watch it on movies. And I also see the crying thing. You see, like, when someone's doing an okay performance, but they close their eyes real tight to get that water to kind of like wipe down the cheek. It's like, just fucking be there, dude. Relax. It doesn't really take me out of it. I just could see the actor for a second. But a fake laugh, it's just like, and then I judge the thing. Like, I'm not even mad at the actors. Like, yeah, that wouldn't make this person laugh.
Yeah.
That's not that funny.
You can pick it out?
Oh, yeah.
In a movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's hard, very, 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 very hard to do.
I didn't even think about fake laughing until you brought it up.
Could you try it? I mean, in a serious place, like.
Yeah. Like now, you mean?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Puh.
Puh who?
Puh who oop. Yeah, that's go on. That's not real. Could you do it for real?
Laugh?
Yeah. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Puh.
Puh who?
Puh hoop.
No.
And that's not a bad joke.
Wait.
Have you ever had a laugh? I mean, half baked. There's a lot of laughing. Are you sober? Did you smoke pot even back then?
I don't think so.
You really don't remember stuff, or is this a thing?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think I did, no. But even in that movie, there's a crying scene, and they put a tear on my face. They have this syrup they use. It's
Is
like
it a syrup? I know they have eye drops, but
no,
syrup.
they have a like a sugary syrup so that the tear slides down slowly.
Oh, it doesn't make you cry. It's literally fake
Right,
tear.
they just kind of put it right here, and it drips down, and it moves slower because it's syrupy.
Right.
So it's part of the illusion of movie magic.
You didn't laugh that much in that movie. Looking back, like Brewer was laughing a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were more like in prison.
Yeah, I was more like kind of just like, you know, like, you know, but not laughing out loud.
How'd you get that movie? Are you friends with those guys?
So they asked me to do it, and
Who's they?
Paramount Pictures, and I said
offered it to you.
They offered it to me, and I said no. I think about 6 times.
Why?
Because I didn't want to do a drug-related movie, and
why?
Because I didn't want to perpetrate the world of drug use. You know,
you're anti-drugs, somewhat.
I'm not. I've never been a drug person, you know, and so I was. I didn't want to sort of have on my shoulders, and it's since happened where kids have walked up to me and go, "Hey, man, you're the reason I started smoking weed," and my heart just goes. But I guess nowadays weed isn't such a bad thing, but.
I love weed.
Yeah, and I don't have anything against weed smokers, and maybe I've tried it here and there, and it's fun, But I guess I didn't want to be the trigger for anyone to go down that road. But now that it's legal, it's like, well, what's the difference if someone comes up and says, you're the reason I tried beer, you know? So
so the issue was the legality, not what the drug does itself.
no, I think it was the drug too. I guess growing up, I just worried that drugs affected the brain and maybe.
Do you have people in the family who have had issues with drugs?
No, not at all. Nothing at all. I think I grew up thinking that, you know, my brain was my vessel. My future and my career rested on my brain. And so I was very scared to interfere with the brain. I always looked at it like a giant Alka-Seltzer, and you put it in water and it
those commercials, those were literally commercials.
Right. It starts to dissolve. And so I thought every time you smoke or drink, it dissolves a little bit. And this was what I had in my head. So,
are you religious? Or did you grow up such?
I grew up religious. My parents were very religious, and I believe in a bigger force. Like,
right.
I guess I want to say God, but I call him the God of good. I don't follow the God of religious institutions. I just think there's a better force out there, and I call him the God of good when I pray. I actually refer to him as the God of good because there's a dark God and there's a good God to me. So I want to make sure when I pray it's clear. So I would say, dear God of good, blah, 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 blah.
How often do you pray?
Sometimes I'll go months and not do it. And other times I'll do it, you know, every day, or, you know, it's not a regular thing or a non-regular, it's just random. When I feel I need it, when you need the power of prayer, right?
So you decided to do the movie because Paramount asked you enough. And
well, they kept asking me, and then finally the producer, Bob Simon, took me to, he said, what can we do? What can we do to get you to do this movie? And he took me to lunch. And I said, I'll tell you what, Bob. I said, you let me improvise throughout the movie, and I'll do it.
Why was that so important to you?
Because, you know, I figured if it was a stoner movie and there was a lot of scenes where people were high, that, you know, when you're high, you often just ramble and you roam and stuff.
And that's a skill set of yours.
Yeah. And so I think my voice just cracked. If you could make a note. Cracked.
Yeah. Put cracked.
And so I knew that in that movie it would probably be good to improvise a lot, and consequently they left many of my lines in that movie were ones I made up in the moment.
Were other performers improvising a lot?
I'm sure they were,
because they have to opposite you if you're off script.
Yeah, well, a lot of my scenes were with a horse and with a, but I think, you know, I'm sure they did. I didn't ever ask them, but I'm sure they did, especially Jim Brewer, because Guillermo and Dave Chappelle had more traditional lines.
Yeah. Well, they were more of the story.
Right. And Dave, when he was stoned, didn't really come off as like a stoner dude, whereas me and Jim Brewer, we came off as the, hey, man, you know, those type of stoner guys. So I think we had a lot more flow to deal with.
Like a butterfly.
Yeah, like a butter. We keep going back to that.
Yeah, you don't want to be a comedian, stand-up comedian who's more just this. You want to be able to improvise.
Yeah, I love it. It's just so free. So they were really cool. They let me, you know, and I did the lines from the script as written, but then I would always find my own lines in there and take them or lose them, whatever you want. But in this case, they ended up keeping a ton of them, and so it was really fun.
Why did the producer, Bob, want you so bad? What did he see in you?
I think it was Chappelle who wanted me.
Were you guys friends yet, or did he just know of you?
He knew me. We were working a lot at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard. We were doing the club together, doing spots, and so I would watch him, and he would watch me.
And were you friends with Neil Brennan at that time too?
No, I didn't even know who Neil was. But I think Neil would come when Dave was there. So Neil was watching me too. So
they both wanted you.
I think I know Dave did for sure. I don't know about Neil, but I think they just saw something in me that represented the innocence of that kindergarten teacher and And so eventually my manager said, look, Harland, you know, it's an acting role. It's you're acting like a stoner. And I just, somehow I worked it all out, and I said yes, and with the improvising.
Before you said yes, and during that time of 5 no's, did Chappelle reach out to you and say, come on, do it? Or was it not that, was it just you're hearing from like, not emails, but like calls and studio people?
Yeah, no, Dave never put any pressure on me, but I guess maybe in the background he didn't want to give up on me, and I'm glad, because you know, I had a great experience, and it was a lot of fun. And did things change for you after that movie? Well, I guess how long after that movie came out did it become a thing? Because I remember it didn't do well right away. Yeah,
but when I mean, we loved it when I was it wasn't like 10 years later it picked up. Was it once VHS? I mean, when did it? A year later, 2 years later?
Yeah, maybe about a year later, and then I started noticing, you know, when I'd go to towns and cities to do stand-up, or especially colleges, it seemed like anyone 30 and under, and especially college kids, had that movie on VHS or DVD, and they would just watch it. It was like a cult movie in with younger kids. So I
didn't smoke pot for years and years and years and years after that movie came out, maybe 50 years, but
50?
Loved, yeah.
That would mean we shot it in 1904, which really doesn't...
Maybe it was a little less, but it felt like maybe 50. It was a while. And
can we get an abacus on the set and maybe...
I don't want to... It doesn't matter. I'll concede. It was 35 years or so, whatever.
So conceited.
And... but I knew it was a weed movie, but I wasn't part of weed culture. I didn't...
Me neither.
But it was just such a funny movie.
Yeah.
So you're on the road now, and then that comes out.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber was what, a few years after?
That was my first movie.
Dumb and Dumber was for, what was that, 94?
I believe, yeah, maybe.
Half Baked came out after Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why. I think I'm picturing. I don't know why. Maybe you know what I'm picturing. I'm picturing what the VHS box looks like, and the Half Baked one was very worn, and it made me feel like it was older.
I wonder if for your viewers we should put up a VHS box, because most of them don't know what it is. They think it's like...
I think people still know VHS.
Okay.
They might not know Betamax.
Oh.
But they know VHS. I used to have The Last Unicorn on Betamax. Watch that when I was a little boy.
The last what now?
Unicorn?
The horse with the... You know... I don't know if you know this, but unicorns evolved from narwhals, and it's rare when you have a species where you have the evolved version and the unevolved version still living in the same...
Well, cockroaches.
Say what now?
Cockroaches?
What?
They're one of the more... But here, oh, you know what? I think here's what it is. Narwhals aren't unevolved. They just were first, and they've evolved into better forms of narwhals.
Narwhals?
Yeah, narwhals.
Narwhals.
Right, but isn't it plural as a narwhal? Many narwhal, one narwhal?
No, I think you just better go with narwhal across the board, because...
is it narwhals?
You can't pluralize it. They're the one species you can't...
Because it's a single,
You can't put an S on it.
Well, you can't do that with deer.
Deers?
Yeah, they're deer. Plural for deer is deer.
Oh my God, you got me again. That's 3.
Are you feeling bullied? You big-eared fuck.
I feel a bit. Wow, that's gonna be 4 right there. We're at 3, which took most of the show, and then 3 into 4 was less than 20 seconds.
Well, 1, it's an isolated incident. 2, it's an even, and I like to have my insults be even. So when it got to 3, I needed to do something really quickly. You know, because it balances out insults.
Do you like when you order a meal, like to have like a side dish or an accent piece or a garnish?
I actually have an Instagram account called @JuMods, because all the modifications that I make, where I love things that I could dip, sauces on the side, building my own things.
Then I want to give that to you, because I also have no chin. So what I'd like you to do is go back with the big-eared fuck, and then as a gift from me to you, drop in a chin burn.
Let me see. Turn to the side.
Well, I can't. There's nothing.
No,
there.
now you're looking down. Go like this.
I don't have a chin, guy. Or let me do it this. See, there's no. So if you want to...
It's a good name for a special. I don't have a chin, guy.
Well, if you want to do the big-eared fuck and then backdrop it with a chin.
Well, maybe I'm already
sizzle.
at an even 4. So if there's something else that comes
Something
up,
else comes up, double tag me.
DT will
Yeah,
do.
yeah, because those are fun.
So you get Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, my first movie
You
role.
audition for it.
Yes.
Right. So it can't be scripted the way you did it because that's Harlan Williams' classic physical comedy goofy gag.
Yeah.
So you're a butterfly. What's the audition? And do you don't know? I mean, it was gonna once Jim Carrey was attached. Even, I mean, it was a big movie. You knew it was a big movie, right? Because even at that point, this was post Ace Ventura.
Yeah, I didn't know. I actually didn't. I read the script. I didn't even think it was that funny.
The script or the scene?
The script. But I didn't audition for the cop scene. I auditioned for the co-starring lead with Jim.
Yeah, so I've heard of multiple stories before Jeff Daniels was attached. Somebody else was attached, not just auditioned, but was attached and then was replaced by Jeff Daniels later on once Jim Carrey came on.
No.
When did you audition? Was Jim already on? Jim must have not been on yet.
No, it was Jim's movie. And then they had me come in and audition. And then
I heard it was Jim's movie from the beginning.
Yeah, it was Jim. Yeah. And then there was a moment when Jim stepped away from it because they wouldn't pay him.
This is the story that I heard then. Jim
Yeah.
wasn't attached for a second.
Jim was attached. Then they only wanted to pay him 300. No, they wanted to pay him 350 grand, I think, or 100 grand or something ridiculous. And then then Jim's manager, because we had the same manager, said we want 350 grand, and they said no. So Jim exited, and then Jim came out in Ace Ventura, and it exploded.
Right.
And then they went back and said we want $5 million for Dumb and Dumber.
Right.
So they could have had Jim for 350, and they ended up paying $5 million.
Right.
So when I was auditioning with Jim, it was in the 350 world. So
before he even left.
Yeah. So Peter and Bobby were considering me for the co-lead at that
Wow.
point. And so I auditioned with Jim personally a few times. And I know Jim was a fan of mine too. But then when Ace Ventura was a hit, suddenly they went, hold the phone. This isn't the guy from Living Color anymore. We got a star on our hands. So then they went out to the whole town and they had every funny guy they could. And at the end, it came back to me and Jeff. We were the last two guys. I remember sitting in the waiting room with me and Jeff were the only guys there.
Wow.
And I'm looking over at Jeff. He's looking at me. And I'm thinking, I've never acted. I've never been in anything. And here's a guy that's been nominated for Oscars. And I thought, he's probably going to get it. And he did. And I thought, well, that's life. And then the Farrellys phoned me and said, we want you to do this cop part.
Yeah.
And I said, you guys don't owe me anything. And they said, we love you. Would you do it? And I said, are you kidding? Of course I would. So then when we got on set, they had me do it. And then I finished doing it. And then Peter said to me, he says, Harlan, now do it the Harlan way. I go, what do you mean? He said, just do it the Harlan way. And I took that as just do whatever I want, the butterfly. And so I got to do that about 5 times. So half the lines in that movie from my scene are just ones I made up in the moment that they left in, which is wonderful for me. So, yeah.
Wow. What a story.
Yeah, well, the original time I went in, I'd never been in for a movie.
How'd you get the audition?
I had agents. They saw me doing the stand-up circuit, so I had agents. As an Abram artist, they said, go down, they want to see you. They just said they want to see me, so I took that as they just want to see me. And,
as opposed to what? What do you mean?
Well, I didn't know about readings and
oh,
script
you just
reading.
thought they just want to take a look at me
They
and say
just
hello.
want to talk, yeah. So I had the script and I'd read the lines, but I didn't know that I was going to audition. So I remember I walked up, I went in, Peter and Bobby Farrelly are there, and they're looking. I was like, "Hey," and they're like, "Hey," and there's this awkward silence. And Peter goes, did you bring the script? And I go, what script? And Peter just goes, this is our guy. This is because I was really like just an idiot, right? And then I said, oh, you wanted me to, and they said, yeah. I said, well, if you can find me one, I did memorize the lines, but they didn't tell me I had to read. So then I read with them, and then I was in the running.
Do you remember what one of the scenes was that you auditioned?
I think one of them was when me and Lloyd were in the hot tub together, and there was a line about sending a Dear John letter to a girl, but she was a farmer, so it was a John Deere letter. And to be honest, when I read the script, I didn't really think it was that funny, but then when I saw it, Jim Carrey just made that movie what it was, and you couldn't do it without him. So it was magical, and it was amazing to do. So,
and you feel positive of the experience. Not that, I was so close.
Well, you can't help but go, what if? And I was so close, but I also go, this is our journey, and we can't. I always look at life. Be happy with what you got, not what you don't got.
Love the one you're with.
No thanks, I'm straight.
But you know that song? It's a similar. I don't remember where it goes, but love the one you're with. It's like it's about being grateful for what you have instead of looking for.
I thought you were going somewhere else, but I was just overjoyed to do they offered this role to me, and they didn't have to, and so that just kind of opened the doors for me.
Is that the big moment? Not Half Baked, but Dumb and Dumber?
No, believe it or not, it was my second movie called Down Periscope.
Right.
Which is a submarine movie I did with Kelsey Grammer, and that one just blew the doors off.
That's before Half Baked?
Yeah, that was before Half Baked, yeah. And that one, I did a scene where I'm a sonar guy, and I did this whole scene in the submarine where I'm imitating whale noises, and very physical, and man, after I didn't think that movie would do anything, and after that, it's like every studio in town was like chasing me. It was crazy.
And what does that look like? What does that mean? Sending you scripts?
No, like having me in like New Line and Disney and all the big, just bringing me in and saying, we want to do a movie with you. What do you want to do?
And you're still doing stand-up during this, right?
Yeah. So I was just like the guy on the hot list. Like, it was crazy. Yeah, it was wonderful.
I'm kind of seeing this. I'm so interested in what stand-up is to you.
Yeah.
I want to know if you could be doing anything, not then, now.
Yeah.
At the highest level.
Yeah.
Is it stand-up or is it acting? And if it's acting, that's comedies, I assume.
No. Not comedies, but I've done so much stand-up. I've done probably, I don't know, 100,000 stand-up shows over.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 30 years, right? So add it up, guy. Get this. What do you got? Throw a number at me, player.
Well, you probably do 200 shows a year. Is that right? So 60,000?
Bring it.
60,000 shows?
Maybe. Yeah, like.
Or 6,000 shows. That would just be 6,000 shows.
More than 6,000. It's got to be more than that. But anyways, so because I've done so much stand-up, I think to focus on one thing would to be movies, but movies that resonated, that had an impact. Not just a movie for the sake, but a movie that, was.
Which is the opposite of what stand-up is to you. No point to stand-up. Stand-up is just silly
open
eggplants being thrown at anyone who has a point.
Yeah.
Movies are points. Movies are what's different from a movie than stand-up?
Stand-up shows are ghosts. They happen and they dissipate into the ether, right? People, you can go to the back of a stand-up club.
What about specials, though?
After you do a stand-up show, and most people can't remember one thing you said. But a movie, people will walk up and quote your lines 30 years later. They know it verbatim.
Question.
No thanks. I'm straight. Okay, go.
Is the reason that at the end of the show they can't quote something
because you're almost making a point to not make a point, and you're just, not that it's bad, it's fucking amazing. That's also why you've done the movies that you've done. But if you're not making a point, they're only remembering an energy, not a thing that you said or a thing that you taught them.
I don't mean me. I mean any stand-up. Most people, when you walk, even if they're clever or a Rodney Dangerfield one-liner, most people, if you ask them at the end of your show, what joke did you like the best? A lot of
disagree.
Times they'll quote the other comedian's line, or it's rare they can remember a joke, I find.
I disagree. In fact, get the fuck out of here.
Which way? Which door? How many doors are in this juke joint?
Jew joint?
Juke, I said.
Silent K. Just one.
So I should start marching?
Nah, not yet.
Okay.
Was that bullying?
No, but it felt like you were setting me up for when it does happen, which in a way is soft and reassuring, because when you do hoof me out, it's not going to be abrasive or abrupt, and you kind of sort of soften the meatloaf.
We've done an hour and a half, but also we've edited out probably
Cut out
15 minutes.
Probably more than that, I would think. I would cut out probably maybe 65 minutes to keep it tight.
Okay. Tight, like if Heidi Klum and Howie Mandel are a 10 and a hole in the ground is a 1, how tight should we make this?
I'd say an Aunt Hazel's butter bun 6.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Who says that anymore? I do.
It's interesting. Normally when people look into their camera, they look into this one, not the...
That's not for me.
This one is.
See, because this one over here highlights my lack of chin. But when I go there, suddenly I'm like Kirk Douglas Jr. Although then this one makes a mockery of me. And I really can't get around it. I have no chin.
Move the microphone out of the way. Let's see what you look like with a really big chin. We're going to give you a chin. Give a snap. Let us know in the comments if you like chin number 2 or chin number 1 better. And if people like your natural chin more, we'll use this camera. Okay. Otherwise, we'll use that camera.
And what camera will we use for my big ear fuck?
Headphones.
Oh, yeah, we can't see them.
Wow. Did you get into comedy for a reason that you know? You were a silly, weird little boy, I imagine.
It's going to sound super pretentious, but I'll tell you it's the truth. I felt it inside me from the day I was a kid.
It being you have an ability.
Nope, I didn't even know if I had an ability. I just felt a surge of feeling in me that this was coming. The stand-up, the being on Letterman, the doing movies. I would sneak out of school in grade 10 and go to watch movies, and I'd be there alone in the dark looking up, and I would just suddenly go, I'm going to be on that screen one day.
What did you sneak out to see when you were 10?
That moment actually was The Great Santini with Robert Duvall.
I just had The Great Santini on a couple weeks ago, my podcast.
Who?
Andrew Santino. A different Santini.
You said great, though.
He is great. He's not the great. He's a great. Yeah.
Do we want to push it? I mean, do we want to push the narrative?
It's a different. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, but sometimes just saying someone's great because you're chummy doesn't service the world. I mean, if we could just say,
I could debate you on that because I do think he's a great. But what about? What about? I remember sneaking out in 10th grade to go see Star Wars Episode 1.
Are you serial?
No.
Star Wars, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was just called Star Wars.
Episode 1 was the 4th movie.
Oh, with the Canadian kid. The young...
Yeah, I don't remember the kid's name who played Anakin, but...
Yeah. Oh, those were the worst.
And, but, Ewan McGregor as Qui-Gon Jinn.
No.
Which they just are now starting a new Disney Plus thing with Qui-Gon.
No, you can't be a movie star and have a giant mole. And McGregor had one here, and Kristen Bale has one growing right on the inside of his eye.
They're movie stars?
Yeah, but they're not going to stand the test of time. The mole will take them out of the running.
Robin Hood Men in Tights did a play on that. Do you remember that movie?
No.
Chappelle, that was the first thing I think I saw him in.
Okay.
Robin Hood Men in Tights was Mel Brooks. You remember Spaceballs?
Yeah.
Spaceballs was to Star Wars as Robin Hood Men in Tights is to Robin Hood. It was one of those.
Got it.
And it was a satire on that story. But Richard Lewis has a mole in it. He's King Richard. And throughout the movie, subtly, the mole was just in different
Moving
places.
around.
Yeah. And then at the very end, somebody says, "Wasn't your mole?" But it made me think of that.
See, but these are phony prosthetic moles.
Yeah.
I'm talking
PPMs.
about real fleshy, globular, like.
Listen, and
Look.
don't worry, I'll hit you with another one right away. But isn't that how God made them and the way they're supposed to be? You little chin fuck.
God, man, you play a mean game of chess, guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I might come in here and you might be able to check me, but you've checkmated me 4 times.
I have something to say that is going to sound pretentious now.
Great, finally.
I didn't checkmate you. You walked into it. I just let the board play the game you wanted.
Yeah, but do you remember Star Trek when Spock played chess, but it was like 4 levels high?
You mean when you played chess?
Spock.
You fucking piece of shit.
Wow.
Yeah. Got a double insult now.
That's not that's called a Chinese roasted triple reverse power slam.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, all I can see is this. Wow, you're good.
Yeah, man. Well, you're
Checkmate and bingo.
Mhm.
And I've never said that in my life to anybody.
You know what the winning number was?
8?
Behave.
Oh, behave.
Austin Powers. You
No
remember that
thanks,
movie?
I'm straight. What?
Do you remember that movie?
I
Austin
sure
Powers?
do. Lost my virginity in the back of the theater to that movie.
Swear.
Fuck off.
What was her name or his name?
Father for Zachary?
Was it loss of your virginity? Was it actual sex or was it oral?
Finger virginity.
You got your penis fingered?
No, I got the calamari ring. Got some ring around the rosy action.
Really? You're
My priest, yeah.
wow. In
Yeah.
which Austin Powers?
1, 2, and 3.
You got fingered in the asshole in the movie theater of Austin Powers 1, 2, and 3?
I call it calamari stuffed. Yeah. Breaded too.
When you did that in Dumb and Dumber, was
Yeah.
that a game time decision? Is that something that you've done before? What made you want to do that?
Oh, so that came from when the Farrelly brothers were getting ready to do the movie. Jim Carrey asked them to come and see me at the Laugh Factory, the comedy club in Hollywood. So they came a couple of times. And at that point in time, I was doing a bit about Whitney Houston.
The girl from Bodyguard.
Yeah, and she sang that song, I Will Always Love You. And then in that song, her register goes higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
So I did a bit about her register goes so high that she turns into a dolphin. It's just, I will always love you. And she starts she goes so high, she goes into another mammal. And so when we were shooting Dumb and Dumber, we shot a bunch of scenes and
Scenes or takes?
takes in the scene, and I'm not telling. I don't have to say.
Yeah.
It's potpourri. It's what I want. They were scene takes.
I was just wondering if there was other things that like maybe didn't make it in by
Man,
other scenes.
No.
No, but I know what you're saying. Same page. I don't want to mess up the momentum
No
of
worries,
the story.
guy. No worries. But anyways, after we'd done a bunch of scene takes, they said, "Hey, Harland, throw in the dolphin noise." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" And they go, that noise you did, the Whitney. And I said, "Where?" And they said, "We don't know. You just put it somewhere." And so I thought, where the hell am I going to put it? So I was drinking the beer, and obviously I was drinking pee, which I did earlier, and I thought, God, what would pee taste like, and what kind of reaction would it cause?
But you had already done pee sips before this.
Right. So this was a take where they specifically asked me to find a place for the dolphin sound. And I thought, well, nobody's really drank pee. And so what would it do? How would it affect me? And I thought, this will be perfect. So I drank the pee, and then I was like, you know, and I just stuck and they left it in.
Did it feel like when you did it that was the choice? That was a good choice. Like, did you know? Like,
I had no idea. I thought it was too cartoony, to be honest, and I thought, how are they gonna fit this into this movie and make it seem real? And they
because
did.
you had such a disgusted face when you did it. It wasn't silly. It was a guy who was drinking something disgusting.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it was silly, but that's why it was real.
Oh yeah, I committed to, like, I didn't do it to be cartoony or big. I in my head I was like, this is the real reaction. Like, it was almost like an allergic reaction in my mind. Like, he'd never had piss in his life, and so it was a new thing in his mouth, and it caused almost a chemical reaction.
When you did Half Baked, you and Chappelle knew each other because you were peers on the stand-up circuit.
Yeah.
Jim, you auditioned with him before Ace Ventura came out. He's a stand-up comedian in Los Angeles. Did you do shows with him? Did you guys know each other?
Yeah, I did some shows with Jim at the Laugh Factory
Did you
as well.
think of him as a peer at the time, the way you and Chappelle probably were?
No. Oh
He
my
was,
God.
because In Living Color was already out.
Well, you got to remember, I started in Toronto as a stand-up at the same club Jim started at.
You moved to Toronto out. I thought you were from Ohio. Was that not real?
That wasn't real.
Right, because that's just where he's from. Because I am.
Where Jeffrey's from.
Gotcha. So you're from Canada. I didn't even didn't do research of
I'm
where
glad.
you're from.
I didn't want you to know.
And so you start where he is, and so he was already a hometown guy.
He was a hometown hero.
Right.
He had already left. By the
Yeah.
time I started, he had already killed in Canada and moved to LA. So by the time I got to Jim, I was just I was sort of always in awe of the guy, and I could never really relax around him, even though we ended up doing a lot together. He had me open for him, and
Cool.
we sat on a bed together once and watched The Unforgiven in a hotel room, and yeah.
And was there always something where, like, there's Jim Carrey?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
does it calm?
No, he's one of the few guys where I was always just really aware that it was Jim Carrey. I couldn't get comfortable with him because of that, probably to a fault, because I think Jim wanted to be closer friends. He would call me and say, hey, come and hang out on the set of In Living Color, and he was pushing for me for Dumb and Dumber,
Right.
and all. And I was so a little bit nervous and in awe of the guy, because again, this was all new to me. I'd never acted. I'd never been around movie stars. I just came from Canada, and suddenly Jim Carrey and
Right.
real studio movies, and so I was freaked.
What was your behavior? Did you not go, or were you going and just being too heavy-handed?
Sometimes I wouldn't go. He'd call me up and say, "Come on down to the set of Living Color and hang out."
And you wanted to, but you were embarrassed?
I wanted to, but I was scared. And he'd go, "I'm going to a party tonight at Nicolas Cage's house. Come with me." And I'd be like,
And what are you scared of? What happens? What's worst case scenario?
I think I just didn't know how to act. I just didn't know how to be in the presence of him and them. And, you know, I wasn't an idiot savant or anything, but I was just kind of like, I didn't know what to think. It was really overwhelming. So I think I just pulled back from it, and sometimes I wonder about that, if I had been, you know.
You mean like in a way of like just transparently, like being more able to rub elbows and be like
just be
part of
buddies and chums, and like nowadays I can do that. Like going back to the thing with the mole guy, one night he called me up to just go hang out at Carrie Elway's house, the guy who was in The Princess Bride, the young, good-looking, and I did it. I went
As
up
you
there
wish.
and. Yeah, and I went up there and we hung out, and I was just nervous the whole time. And then he called a limo and we went to a movie theater in Westwood and watched a movie, and he had a beautiful girl with him, and I was just like, now I can hang with anyone. But back then, you got to remember, kid from the suburbs of Toronto, suddenly hanging with someone at that level, it kind of frazzled my mind.
that type of nerves. Could you associate that with any type of nerves as a kid that like were a similar type of thing?
No, nothing.
You never had those nerves before.
Nothing really phases me. But Jim was just such a guy that I admired and respected and just loved. And so I didn't know how to sit still around him. You know, in my head, I was always a little like, even though he was really calm and cool with me, I never let him know that. But this is the first time I've ever said it, really. But
well, if he sees this and he reaches out to you, what a beautiful moment.
that would be. But you know, I don't know, but
Do you remember what it was like on set when you were doing that thing? Did you make any of them laugh?
oh yeah.
Did they break during the scene?
I broke Jim and Jeff up many times.
And that's on their coverage, your coverage?
I think they had cameras rolling on both of us. Yeah, it was shooting in at them where they're like, "Excuse me, officer," and "Tic Tac, sir," and all that.
Yeah.
And because I didn't know it was coming, and they didn't know it was coming, I think Jim was obviously a fan of me already because he kind of pointed everyone in my direction. And so, yeah, to stand there and watch me crack those two up inside, I was like, wow, this is, I was kind of beside myself.
That's the thing about laughs that I was saying, where when it's real and you get them, there's it's a feeling. And to get somebody like Jim Carrey, who obviously you see as I see and the world sees, but like that's a guy you want to make laugh.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It made me feel, and it empowered me to just push further. And I was like, let's see if I can get them again. And I did. I found ways to get them. And
is there a confidence that comes with that? Like beforehand, I want to do a good job, and then you make them laugh, and now does that statement make sense? Like, I don't know what people are going to think of me or how I'm going to do or if I'm going to be proud of myself. But the moment you get somebody that you admire to laugh, are you able to like, I got this? Does that happen for you?
In that instance, my focus wasn't them. If you watch that role, regardless of me being silly, I'm very intense.
Yes.
And all I did from the day I got on set, I went, I am a state trooper. I am this character. I am this cop. And anything I say, even if it's silly or even if I do the noise, it's all through the filter of this guy and his job. And like, I just became that cop, and I had a history in my head, and like I committed to that cop. So I wasn't worried about making them laugh. I just thought, well, if this cop went off, how's he going to go out? What's going to come to him?
Yeah, it's maybe semantics, but I don't mean it even as a worry as much as once they laugh, does it add on to your confidence?
Yeah, but definitely. Yeah, you can't help it because it's like I just made one of the funniest guys on planet Earth laugh.
Yeah.
That's what you think. And then you also go, it was so weird having Jeff Daniels there because he was a bona fide dramatic actor that had been nominated for Oscars, and he was known for his drama acting, not his comedy. And so to make him laugh was like another big triumph in my head. So it was pretty overwhelming and spectacular. But the minute they said, let's do it again, I pushed that all away, and I just became that cop again. I was very focused, committed to it.
The type of conversation we're having now, like a serious one, relatively.
Let's not push it, guy.
A sincere one.
Sincere sounds like cinnamon in my head.
Not as jokey. What would you call it?
I would just say, I don't know. I'm stepping on what you were about to say. I'll let you finish it.
I feel glad to be having this conversation, and it makes me feel closer with you.
Great.
But also, the mood that I have been in for a little bit, including today, I'm just, if we didn't have this scheduled, I would not have been like, I need to do a podcast today. I'm just in a little bit of a space.
Wow.
Which is fine. Everything's fine. I'm just saying, I would love to invite you back again at some point. And I want to have a goofy time. And you're friends with Adam Ray, right?
Well, yeah.
Adam's on my podcast all the time.
Yeah.
He's been on it more than anybody else.
Ray dog.
I would love to do, Adam and I, you don't care about being around people who are stoned, do you?
No, not at all.
Because we get very stoned and it's Bit City.
Wow.
And I would love to do one with the three of us. No obligations. You don't even answer yes or no now.
Yeah.
But I'm putting it on the record. In case it happens, this will be the cold open to that episode.
Wait, this will?
This right here would be the cold open to the episode with you, me, and Adam if it happens.
Okay.
But I want to get very stoned.
Well,
now that I know you a little bit.
Like on a level of 1 to 10.
I'd say a Cinnabon soft 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Not stoned to where I'm drooling. This is the way I get stoned, which is just like, oh, I'm high. It's nothing crazy, but like I'm high.
Right. Let's do it. But I'm not going to answer.
Yeah. So we'll bleep out the let's do it.
Well, I didn't. When I said let's do it, I was kind of
right. Like, all right, yeah, right. That sounds good. Well, we'll be seeing you guys. Like just that kind of thing.
I was like, what would happen if you sort of moved over and sat on the brown next to me? And I'm not into guys, but
something. Oh, well, we could do that.
Sometimes.
Maybe we can make it the thumbnail. Maybe I could sit next to you and we can make that this episode's thumbnail.
But that's just cosmetics. I was kind of thinking.
Yeah, let's see. We'll start the instrumental theme music now. Oh, go to harlandwilliams.com or what do we say? Is there a thing? On Instagram?
Oh, my shirt.
We'll put it all in the description. Oh, is that your merch?
Well, I draw my own T-shirts.
And do you sell them or is it just
draw them and
for you?
No, I sell them because they're one of a kind. And they're at my website called harbling.com.
HARBLING.com.
Yeah, and
they're really all one of ones?
Yeah, they're one of a kind, and because I like people to have unique.
How many shirts do you have?
I have about 50.
And once it's sold, you take it off the site?
Once it's sold, you get the original. Nobody else has it. But then if people want a print of it at like a lower cost, you
Wait a minute, I'm confused. You actually hand draw it on the shirt?
Draw it right on the shirt, yeah.
You draw that on the shirt?
Yep.
And then you sell that?
Yeah.
And then you have a copy of it that people could get the print of?
Yeah, but only one person gets the actual...
But how do they get the print if it's not on paper? They take it. You take an image of an actual shirt?
We take an image. We make a JPEG of this image and then...
From the shirt?
Right, exactly.
So people are getting a picture of a picture on a shirt, basically?
Correct, boy wonder.
And that's hand-drawn?
It's hand-drawn, yeah.
What do those cost?
They range between like $80 and $200.
And then what does this print one cost?
Oh, they're like 25.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
How long have you been doing that?
I just put the website up about 2 months ago because I don't know. People are always wearing brand names and logos, and I thought I wish people could just have something unique, So I just started doing it.
And that's a guy that everyone's scared of. It's either a dragon or some type of a dinosaur. But really, at the end of the day, he's just thinking about McDonald's, not eating you.
Right. So it's the beginning of time in the Jurassic era, and he's a meat eater, and he's looking for a McDonald's. But
right.
you and me know they don't exist. Most of your viewers probably don't know, but you and I do.
Would you say it's a metaphor for you being this powerful, misunderstood creature who's ahead of his time?
No.
My name's Rick Glassman.
What is it?
Rick Glassman.
Whoa.
With special guest Harland Williams. Big you check out Harland Bling, Harbling, Harbling,
Harbling.com.
Harbling.com. That's
HARBLING.com.
That's HARBLING.com ? You could start the theme music now, and I'm going to sit next to Harlan to see how it feels.
Blabbity blue, scoop.
You don't have much of a chin either.
Oh yeah!